So one of the most frequent questions that I answer in the comment sections in a lot of my videos, particularly the ones where I'm doing demonstrations, is what snare is that? What snare are you playing? Your snare sounds awesome, you know, that kind of thing. So today I'm going to show you my snares because it sort of ties into a topic that I wanted to eventually do a video on anyways. And since I didn't have any ideas for one this week, I figured I would do it now. So today we're going to talk about what I typically like to refer to as super snares. Now the star of most of my videos these days is from a company called A&F. They are a small boutique drum manufacturer in Austin, Texas. Shout out to GRAMMY out there. And it's always been on my bucket list to eventually own an A&F. Now I got two of them. Now the one that I got sitting on my kit here is a 6.5 by 14 raw brass, which is my favorite one. And the other one that I have is a 5.5 by 14 maple club. Now the brass one was a gift from my wife a couple years ago. I actually did a video on that because it was probably one of the coolest days of my life. She's been hearing me talk about A&F snares, this one in particular, for quite a while. So she just stored that information in the back of her head. And then one day after work, she just came home with one. And then about 6 months later, I went out and I bought the maple club because I wanted a second A&F with a wood shell that I could tune up a little bit higher and, you know, take out the gigs and stuff. Now I'm a bit of a snare junkie. I got a few cool ones here in the house, but A&F snares are, in my opinion, the most unique, best sounding, and coolest looking snares on the market. They're also very expensive. Now a super snare for me is any custom, handmade, boutique snare drum that you're paying upwards of, you know, $15, $18, $2,000 and up. So this is not the kind of snare that you're gonna pick up if you just need something to gig with. You can get one of those for $300, $400. So that being the case, are super snares worth it? So to answer that question, I'll just share my opinion with y'all and just say it depends on what it is and why you're getting it. Now these A&F snares, like when you look at one of these, like I said, this is a small shop out of Austin. There's only a few guys in there making drums, and they make pretty much everything in-house when you see these things. Everything is hand assembled. These raw brass shells, like they bend all the shells themselves. They have this cool sort of oxidation process that creates this kind of patina look that gives it that vintage vibe. When you get one of these, you're getting a unique piece of art. I mean, if you're gonna spend $2,000 on a snare drum, you don't want something that's touching a factory line. So you know what you're getting when you get an A&F, and this is usually a goal for a lot of people, as it was with me. Like it's been on my, like high on my bucket list to own one of these. It just so happens, again, this one was a surprise for my wife, but I bought the other one soon after. And I tell you something, I've had this thing now, I can't even remember. And I get the giggles still every time I come down here and play this thing. So when I walked into the store, when I got the Maple Club and I just handed in my ATM, found myself in a position where I could just go in and buy a snare like that for myself, there was a very cool sense of accomplishment that came with it. So, I mean, there's that too. So it was just, you know, a combination of business was going really well. And, you know, I'd been playing 30 years up to that point. So it was kind of like a reward to myself. That feels great. You can't even put a price on that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's your money. You can spend it however you want. It's really only a waste of money if you're spending upwards of $1,000 for a snare drum because you think that's what you need to go out and play, you know, your classic rock covers on the weekend or take it to church. Super snares, in my opinion, are in a special category where, you know, you want to grab one as a reward to yourself. You know what I'm saying? The feeling that I get when I play either one of my A&F snares, it's just, I mean, there's an inexplicable joy that I get every time I hit one of these. Trust me when I tell you, if you put your pennies aside and you're able to come home with one Saturday afternoon and put it behind your kit and you start playing it, you're gonna be the happiest drummer on the planet. But let me know what y'all think. If there's a particular snare drum that you have on your wish list, put it in the comments section below. Let's see how many snare junkies we have watching the channel here. I'm done buying snares, at least that's what I tell myself. But drop a comment below, give us your opinion on whether or not you think spending this kind of money on snares is a big old waste of money. If you happen to have a budget set aside for your first super snare, you're digging the sound of these A&Fs, you can actually get these at Sweetwater. So I'm gonna leave a link to their page in the description box. You can check out what they got. Typically, you don't spend that kind of dough without test driving the snare first, but trust me when I tell you, you can buy one of these sight unseen. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you share it if you dig it. Like, subscribe. See you next video.